Good morning, everyone. This is TaraLee Live, and we are live on YouTube this morning. This is Wednesday morning. We are starting it off awesome through halfway through the week. I'm here with my co-host, Drake. Drake, good morning.
Good morning, Tara. I'm super excited this morning to be here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll get you quick with please give a like and make sure you're on live chat, not top chat, so you don't get filtered out. But this morning, we've got a great show. We're going to talk with a friend of mine here, with Todd from Sweet Soil. And we're really excited to just kind of hear about some of his foundational roots and how he got into the industry and, all the fun stuff that we usually dip into. So beforehand, I know we're going to get a dab or so in because Tara and I have been slacking trying to get ready and get going here. Yeah, Tara, you have anything else? You are muted somehow. You muted yourself quickly. Quick to the gun.
See how I unmuted myself? That's because I wanted to pull top chat, live chat out and oh my gosh, I can't talk because I haven't dabbed yet this morning, Drake. Yes, I wanted to get chat pulled out so I could make sure we see who people come in and say hello to them when they come in. I have a lineup of rousins going on behind me. Not sure what, let's just grab this one. Whatever one I'm grabbing, that's what we're going in on. We are going in on, I'm going in on Missing Grape because that one's really good. I love to start the morning with that. What are you guys smoking on today?
Nice. Well, let's Todd go first. I know
Todd puffed he said he puffed on a joint on the way over here. What did you puff on?
I puffed on Silver Mountain this morning. So a little silver haze to start the day.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
I love it. Bodhi cut. It's super nice.
Yes. And actually this morning, he even brought me some gifts. He brought a few different vials of some seeds. So I'm so excited. There's a lot of really nice things here and some that should work fantastic for our short season outdoor that we deal with in the Pacific Northwest here on the West Coast. It's, end of September, October time, we start getting the humidity, we start getting the rains, the PM, the bud rots, all the fun stuff, and then just overall the sloth. I'm making up words now. Holy smokes! The rendering of efficiency of the plants growing just due to the temperature change. So it's nice to get those ones that really come together at the end and are resistant to some of those factors that we just know we're going to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, right as I want to take a dab, a hot flash comes on. So we're going to let this hot flash go away. I'm going to say hello to chat for a minute. We got Taco in today. Hello, Taco. How are you? Ginger Bug tuning in. We got CBD voter in the house. And Casey's here. What's up? Welcome. Well, if you didn't know, Drake and I are cannabis kind of advocates, I guess you could say. And we are medical cannabis patient users. If you are new to our channel, we'd like you to subscribe and hang out with us. If you're interested in learning about cannabis or growing, we're also going down the regenerative path. And Todd makes soil. So we're going to sit here and have a cool conversation about that today. And Drake's hitting a big ass puff over there.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's hop in a little bit here with Todd, and let's let you talk a little bit about your foundation and kind of what got you started. We're always interested, when was the first time that you used cannabis or were aware of it, and then once you dial that in, when did you start realizing how beneficial and what a medicine it can be, essentially?
Yeah. Well, so basically, ended up trying cannabis when I was around 12 or 13. It was grade 7, summertime after. It was like the fair weekend. We got a gram, which was probably wrapped in tinfoil, super, super wet. We're trying to roll it. And it was one of those things. My buddy had smoked weed 3 times at that point. So he was kind of trying to deal with it. And it was funny. It was definitely one of those experiences that I just really enjoyed it. It's just it's always really resonated with me in so many ways. And I do think I'm probably ADHD and just undiagnosed, and it's just always been something that seems to kind of make things fall in line for me. Totally. Then it was just basically a very loving relationship between me and really trying to find cannabis in those days, because I can remember searching for weeks on end in the 80s, trying to seek out cannabis and stuff, and then getting to the I probably started to grow it when I was 17 or so. We started throwing plants outside. My first outdoor crop made the picture, got a picture on our local newspaper. This is giant blackberry bushes that were carved out with a big hole in the center. And some ambitious blackberry picker put 2x12s on the bushes and got into the middle and found our weed. And then we went to go check it one day, and it looked like a truck drove into the patch. It was just like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then it was gone. And that was pretty common with our first crops, trying to grow somewhere outside, not having a place.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lost a lot of crops to different things, animals not being secure enough, and humans and police as well too, before we were finally able to start growing inside, which was around when I was 19. We started getting into smaller setups and basement grows in Vancouver in those days and stuff. So, and just kept going. Eventually markets got super tight, and I always figured that you want one of two things. You either want to be the guy with the cheapest product around that looks the best, and I figure you'll have a market, or you want to have the best flower that people seek out, and I believe you'll have a market. So I just looked at ways to cultivate the best flower possible, and then got into organic growing, started doing rolls, the re-amending and everything, and did that for years. And then went into live soil beds and ran the same live soil beds in my shop for 5 years. And that's when I started playing with the recipe, because I knew at that point I was like, this is amazing. And then started to put the wheels in motion to form my own soil company and to try to educate growers that there's other ways, because BC is such a culture of bottled nutrients. I've been in the industry heavy for 25 years, and trying to get people to convert to something they've never seen before, because it's really all about making money for the most part. Closet growers are easy. They're always looking for the best for themselves, but like anything at scale for the most part is really like, was a challenging go for a while to get people to give it a try. And then after that, it's like you end up with a whole bunch of people screaming for everybody to convert once they give it a try and see how well it works. So, and
you snuck something in there that I just love. It made me smirk, because we've done the same thing, and you see it now. It's especially a lot more common now, but the rolls, the regenerative organic living soil. It's if you ever see the rolls flour, that rolls hash, you're probably going to want to grab it, and there's a reason it's a little more expensive. So that's a little key treat for anyone out there, and it's going to be a lot more popular because everyone's looking for a way to brand their product and to make it different from the other. And for most people who are newer to living soil or the soil food web, and you kind of get into it and you start getting passionate, and then you have this product, you're thinking about it, and you're like, wait, this is like regenerative and it's organic and it's living soil. So like the same, like, myself and my good buddy Count, we thought of that without seeing it somewhere else, which is funny. And we've heard other people doing the same. And, it's been around for a long time. It's not like we're creating new things, but it's funny how we all kind of come to it in our own way sometimes without just hearing it. So yeah, I just wanted to key on the rolls because that's too funny. But yeah, as you mentioned, like once you grow in a soil for let's say run after run, year after year, you start seeing like, why is it getting better if it's supposed to be getting worse? And you start understanding like the concept of if you take things out, you just have to replace those things. And if you're really not taking much out for say, we've got into this a lot, and I'm going to rabbit hole slightly, but it still pertains to the same thing. And if you're only taking out a tiny, tiny little piece from your garden, you really don't have to put too much back in. So for instance, with cannabis, for a hash smoker and hash producer, we can have a fully set up bed. Say you have a bed that's got a nice soil food web, it's good to go. You grow in that bed. You now harvest your flower. You do your water hash, for instance. So we do that, and then we separate the trichome heads. The heads have what we want in there, but they don't necessarily have a whole bunch of stuff that's extremely vital to the plant's growth the next season. So if you now take that water hash product and you're able to process it, even just by letting it sit with water longer and then re-add that to your crop, or even just add it as the top mulch, you've really only pulled out the resinous heads from that whole crop. So if you look at it for the root, for its nature, you haven't really pulled anything out of it. And just like in the forest, where people always say, well, who's given nutrients to these big, beautiful trees? Well, the trees are, because no one's coming and pillaging half of the tree. And then the tree's going, oh, how am I supposed to grow? You took half of my food supply.
Yeah.
So if we can kind of emulate those things, we can really work with it. And that's why building these strong foundation, these strong soils are so important, because then we don't have to input too much. And like, say if we're flower producers, or we need to harvest the whole flower. Well, now we just have to kind of stand back and think, okay, how much have I really taken away from this? Maybe I'm not going to remove all the leaves and the stalk and everything, and I'll just let it do its thing and go back in there, because that's the what it needs. That's its essence anyways. And then you can just add in some simple base fertilizer, or have some cover crop and chop and drop. And there's really not a lot of input you have to do. And in turn, it comes to zero cost.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's 100% what it's all about. Like, I try to return everything back to the soil always, and have as minimal inputs as possible. It just makes sense. Like, it's about being efficient and intelligent with how we do things, and about closing the loops and trying to do more on site, and growing botanicals and different plants that we can use to build soil, because plants build soil essentially. And it just depends, like, you just find where cannabis would grow naturally, and typically you can kind of figure out your fungal bacterial ratios, where it's going to want to sit, and where it's going to function well. So just doing these things, because I'm the same way. The flowers are the only things that leave my garden. Everything else gets returned to the soil, and then I top dress with, or mulch with, like comfrey alfalfa and different things from that we have.
I was going to ask you, so what are your favorite, like, top dressing or cover crops or companion plants? There's several different people call them different things, and they are used.
Well, and let's touch on those terms just really quickly first. Just the cover crop and the companion.
But we did have a question in chat, and someone asked if you did KNF or Jadam's principles. So let you know, everybody that has questions in chat, I'm going to copy and paste them, and we're going to put them in here, and I promise we'll get them answered for you today. So just be patient with us if you can.
Yes.
And let's go ahead and talk about cover crops. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we'll address that question right away as well. So just so cover crop versus companion plant. Cover crop is a crop that you plant right at the end of the cycle, or after you harvest your main plant, and that's what's going to grow while your beds are fallow. For instance, here where we have a winter, we're going to grow specific winter hardy plants that are going to be able to grow. They'll grow first thing in the spring. They'll get nice and tall right before we plant. We do the chop and drop, and that can end up being the main essence of what our base fertilizer is. That's the whole base right there, plus the crop residue that falls down, as we mentioned. And if you're really lucky, you can grind and chip your stock up, and then oh my goodness, use that for your mulch if you want to see some real high fungal and just cool different activity at a microbial level. But the companion plants are the ones that you now grow with your plant. So they're the ones that are, say, nitrogen fixers, or ones that grow really well, that are, influence pollinators that maybe are banker plants. And, if you have some aphids or mites that are going to show up, they're going to hit that plant first. And you really work with it. You don't want to use ones that say, this one holds a bunch of PM that happens to affect cannabis as well. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you got to be careful with it.
Yeah.
But that's the variance. But as far as the question, which I imagine pertained to yourself, because Tara and I have kind of been going down the Jadam path a lot more, and kind of trying to like isolate the one practice, get it through its ins and outs, and then kind of just continue along. We're really interested in the Jam because of just extremely how cost effective it is. It's essentially the most eco-friendly, cost-effective, sustainable way to farm. But there's a lot to it, and all these other ways are also fantastic in their own essence. So have you kind of incorporated any KNF or Jadam practices yourself at all?
I've done a little bit of KNF, but not Jadam yet. So I'm really blessed with, I have basically like an infinite almost supply of Bokashi cannabis. So essentially, like, I have a couple consulting gigs of micro cultivation here around the Okanagan. And typically I would do basically like a sheet mulch of the Bokashi, and utilize that. And then we do a lot of sprouted seed teas, some silica and aloe. And then like sometimes I'll do a banana peel or a banana, like more of a potassium KNF blend when I'm getting into flour. And then sometimes we'll do like sprouted seed teas with more carb based seed, like corn or something like that as well too in flour. And I just find that the plants thrive so much once that mulch is up high, and like anything that's top dressed in there, right, is getting turned over by the worms constantly, and it's irrigated, I just find the plants respond so well. And everything, I haven't gone deep into that, but I would like to start exploring it more. So we're finding in veg, if we're in a 4-inch by 4-inch container for more than 12 days, the plants are definitely needing something. And that's kind of where I wanted to head. But I was actually going to talk to you about it, because that's something I've just been scratching the surface on. So
hey, and I wanted to quickly get you to jump in. You mentioned you've got almost unlimited access to the bokashi cannabis input. Do you want to just touch a little bit on what that is for any of the viewers out there who aren't as familiar? And then possibly I'm going to take 2 seconds to sneak outside with that little puppy and come back. So hopefully we won't skip a beat while we do so.
Absolutely. So bokashi is basically like a fermented composting process. So it comes from Japan, and basically it's a mix of, so they're grinding all the leaf, some growing tips, and then the stalk as well too is getting ground. They add bran to that and basically layer the cannabis bran, and then add the inoculant to that, which is some strains of anaerobic bacteria, and that basically breaks the cannabis down really quick. It's essentially a really quick composting process. For me, it's my second favorite thing to just straight up worm composting or vermiposting. But it's what I have access to, and it's an amazing input, because it's basically utilizing all those things in mass, even hormones and everything that the plants are gonna want to have. So they it's fantastic. And like, I love the mulch, because the mulch brings the worms up to the surface of the soil and gets them working up high. So I really love that effect. And then always be irrigating and then dropping all those goodies right down into the rhyosphere. So it's I really like it. Find we have really, really great results, and with that, it's reduced our inputs.
Okay, I'm sounding really like I'm feeling spacey here. Bran. What is actually bran? Is bran actually a grain?
Yeah,
Right?
it's
bran. It's
yeah.
not like, so there'd be like, because a lot of people use like so when they make like a similar one where they want like the mycelium to form in it or something, they would use like a wheat germ, or and stuff. Not wheat germ. Is it wheat? What's the holes? Like the holes and stuff like that, right?
Rice hulls?
Yeah, the holes. And don't they use holes and stuff like that in that stuff too, or no?
No, I don't. Like, they very well might. I only know exactly the way they do it before I receive it. So yeah, that's what they do. But the brand would definitely be more of a mycelia input. I would think it's more a carb.
Food eating web.
It's the husk. It's the grain husk.
Yeah, the bran is a husk, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's just the outer, like that
But
herb.
isn't, I was like, okay, let's have this conversation about the husk, okay? Because isn't like bran, how I understand it, it's the husk of things. So it could be wheat bran, it could be rice, it could be whole, or is it actually holes? See, it's confusing on how they sell this stuff.
So Google tells me it's pieces of grain husk separated from flour after milling. And it could.
Oh, it's so vague.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't actually know whether it's wheat, rice. See, that's why I'm so confused on a lot of these. This is what we're finding out when we're trying to dive into like the Jadam book and the recipes. And we're like, well, what exactly does this mean in America terminology versus Korean terminology, right?
We'll give it to you in 710 terminology, but I'll just mispronounce it so you can give me crap and slap me on the wrist. The bran consists of the pericarp, the seed coat, and the aileron layer.
Of anything.
Everyone knows that already, though. Everyone knows that already.
Well, basically what Drake and I have really learned through a lot of this studying like the rice and the wheat and the holes, and that's why this brand thing came up, why we're talking about this, is because basically when a grain comes off like a wheat, let's just take wheat. Okay. So when the wheat grain comes off, all wheat is brown. It's all brown. They actually just make it white and sell it to you white. Like
Yeah,
they take all that good stuff and then they resell it to you back in other foods. And so some of that what flour isn't necessarily the nutrients because they've taken all the good nutrients off the outside of it and sell it in something else like brands and different stuff like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just, ripping it apart. And as we've been talking about a whole bunch, it's making your byproducts, your staple products in a sense, and having the byproducts be the most efficient product you have. And in a context where a farm could we're going to be hash rosin producers and that's it, or just dry sift. And it's like, well, there's most likely you'll have a nice brand and get good product for your high end hash rosin. But there's usually the byproduct on the other end is what will end up being your more marketable product, because lots of these products are essentially just byproducts for the most part. So now you're just able to reuse them and turn them into something. So it's like you're taking zero.
Basically, it's called making money off of your garbage. Or trash.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm selling my trash. I make money off of one thing, and I sell my trash for a lot more money out the back.
Then if you just look at it as a whole, you just factor all that into the initial cost. You can break it down, and so you do have a cost for it, but even then, they're all now just makes your hash that much more profitable because you've separated how much the input cost is for the different outputs you're going to have. But yeah, it's very prominent, and for anyone out there that's maybe newer to getting into any sort of business or anything along those lines, there's generally a lot of that involved. It's utilizing everything to a whole and just micromanaging and making sure there's just not waste.
Yeah, absolutely. I never really looked into it because I've always just looked at the outcome, which is it's compost essentially when the process is over. So I haven't went down that rabbit hole, but I'll definitely look into it, because now I'm actually curious on different maybe methods that they could be using to do it as well too. But we just have such great results with it, and I'm kind of a product of my environment. I've been so busy in the last while. It's been really hard to sit down and continue my education in the process. So I get into my habits as well too. So it's always great to expand my horizons.
Don't we all?
Yeah, for sure. So
well, on that, we kind of trailed off after speaking about you had that 5-year soil essentially going on, and now if we fast forward a little more, I'm like, whereabouts are you at right now with say one of your favorite beds? I'm sure you've just got so many different ventures and things along the lines that you could speak about. So if you've got a kind of more staple growing area that you're able to maintain, or maybe it's just one of the favorite farms you consult to or something along those lines, like what's kind of the duration it's been going? Too far from the mic or what?
Did you want to throw his website?
Yeah, perfect. We'll pull that up as soon as we let him start chatting again. Thank you for bringing that up. I was going to do it earlier and I had forgotten. But yeah, if we want to get a little bit into maybe the style of growing that it is. So say just to nail it down a bit more for yourself instead of another farm now, what techniques and what ways are you liking to grow now? Are you doing like a living soil indoors and LED, HPS? Like kind of what's your style now? Where are you at?
So like my favorite for sure would be living soil with LED. The combination of the two, it just seems to make plants extremely happy and produce more oils than anything else I've seen. So like I've worked with Living Cannabis since they started. I brought them their cultivar that they're using and everything. So basically was able to really get into like a massive scale growing proof of concept with this that's legal for the first time. So it was really exciting. So basically that's composed of beds that slide. They're made of aluminum because you can't have any wood. I'm super simple myself. Typically I just frame up wood beds for mine for Medi Grows for sure. Yeah, and there it's aluminum. They're 12 inches deep. We're about 10 inches into them. The top 2 inches are packed full of bokashi. Between every cycle, basically we harvest the plants. Everything is like dried, and then we go back and mulch the stalk. And like everything from the prunes and everything also gets applied in the bokashi as well. So, and they're rolling that over, and then in between cycles, essentially, we're just sending off to a lab to see where we need to go with our amending. So we'll basically just pull our mulch aside, amend as we believe that's going to best suit the cycle, and remulch and get started again. It's irrigated with blue mats, which I love because we don't have to really worry about the human element. And it's a nice slow flow as opposed to more the monsoon thing, which I do. And plants, it's not like they hate it or anything. It's just, it's much nicer to have that really evenly moist medium for sure. And plants, it's ridiculous. We added a touch of red wigglers at the beginning of the cycle. We're 6 months in, so they're like overflowing. So now they're opening more rooms upstairs.
Okay.
Now and introducing their own worms, and we're growing biodynamic accumulator plants on site there to add to complement the bokashi as well too. So just to diversify a little bit more. And some sprouted seed as well too, because it helps with some of the harder to reach micronutrients, manganese, and different things that seems to want a seed to be able to get it established in the soil. And really just trying to work the soil. I've expanded a lot lately and talked to a lot of experts in our world, and a lot of them were essentially going to like sulfate salt-based nutrients for different things that they wanted to get in the soil. And I absolutely refuse, and just will continually build. And some things are challenging to get, but it's interesting too, like even just testing soil, it's such a finite slice of what's really there and accessible to plants. So, and we have a process, like it's taken from 12 different locations and mixed and everything. So trying to do it in a manner that's going to give a representation of what's there, but it's always just, that's how it was on that day. So it's, I don't know. I just love the process of getting to a point where it's just like your bucket's totally full and it gets to be overflowing, and then you just need to stop really thinking about it. The plants just seem to do their own thing. The weird insects don't proliferate. Plants are happy. Pest management's just so much easier, and onward and upward. And the quality of the flower is the main thing as well too. Like it's just a stellar flower. So it's just one of those. It's just I fell in love right when I first started. So just I try to generally stay away from more container growing with it now, though, because I have found with my schedule and trying to maintain a great moisture level in smaller containers, super challenging. So I do typically recommend people go to a larger medium. It just seems to be a lot easier to manage.
3 by 3 bags.
When you say, so what size are you saying? Like when you say that, what would you recommend? What would be your smallest you would recommend? Uh-oh. Was that me that died or them? Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. 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 I think it was them that died. All right, Drake, where you go? Okay, well, technical difficulties today. I see. I guess we'll hit that bong rip now. Cheers, everybody. How you doing? I am going in on some lemon juicy jam. There they are. Perfect timing. My banger's ready to take a hit. Let's do it. Go ahead, guys.
Nice.
I was just saying this. I was like, I'm gonna forget exactly where we were by the time we get back to it. Do you have any recollection? What were you saying?
Smallest beds.
Beautiful. 3 by 3s. Nailed it, my man.
So like honestly, like I would try to stay like a 7 gal or bigger. But like realistically, for managing a chunk of living soil, like I would run 3 by 3 or bigger. Most of us are growing under something that's 1,000 watts or 1,000 watt equivalent in something else. I like a 4 by 4 bed planted wide, and that's going to cover what I'd say would be like a 5 by 5 area, which should be like the coverage of good
One of
lighting
those solid
nowadays.
fixtures, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do. Normally I just build 4x4 beds. I build them really simple and easy out of wood for like any MMAR, like the legal medical access here. Yeah, if you're not like in a micro cultivation or under that government kind of facility or whatever, where the rules are definitely different as far as the materials you can use in the facility.
Well, here for our medical, it definitely we're blessed compared to a lot of places around the world. As you mentioned, we have the MMAR. It's now transferred over to ACMPR, but very similar thing.
Yeah.
It's all just legal jargon, but the same kind of thing. So we're able to get a specific gram per day coverage depending on what your ailments and needs are, up to about 99 or 95 gram a day, which equates to say 400 and some indoor plants that you could legally be able to grow a year for your own medicine, which for some people sounds outrageous. But then if you really start processing this and making concentrates, and you start making tinctures and really start utilizing it for just the resin heads, as we mentioned, and then you say, like, for yourself, if you did exactly what I said prior and you're only using the resin heads, you're giving back the flour from the water hash and everything, the percentages you get are so little. And if you're someone that can go through an ounce or two in a month just to keep a happy baseline of hash rosin, well, it's not going to last that long. But irregardless, we are super blessed and lucky to have that.
Absolutely.
And then with it, we can have people that are now able to come and consult and help you build them and kind of get you going, so that you're completely legally able to get set up and know what you're doing and have proper medicine for yourself. So it'd be nice to have that, all around, which is slowly coming, but slowly is the key word.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, Tara.
I thought it was cool that we're talking about bokashi, because we actually we've talked a little bit about bokashi on my channel, but not really anything intensively, or talk to anybody that's really used it. So I think that was kind of cool to talk to you today about that.
Well, and if you don't recall, we've actually both taken a swing at producing some, Tara.
Well, okay, so yeah, it's different though, right? So like, I don't want to actually give it the name bokashi, right, Drake? So
it's definitely we would just say inoculated bran. But it's a very similar process, and this is actually something. Again, this is a bit controversial, but it could be similar to like. Well, I won't even say it because it's too controversial. But it's a nice microbial inoculant. So we take organic bran, and then we do our Jadam practice. We make a nice JMS, the Jadam microbial solution. Again, just healthy leaf mold soil, soft water, a little bit of sea salt, and then you can spice it up from there. But that's the basic blend that you can do to let all those forest microbes proliferate. And same thing, you want deciduous trees, or if you have some other collections, no more than 1/3. So that's what Tara's got, and I've got more of a milled, powdered bran. And you take a specific amount of it. You add a certain amount of your JMS, your microbial solution, at a specified dilution. Again, it's a quarter, 1:4. You dilute the JMS. You add that to your bran, certain amounts, mix it proper. You want it to be in proper parameters. So without going into it too deeply, you let it sit for 14 days. In that time, it heats up, does its thing. You don't screw around with it at all. You just have it in the recipe. You follow the recipe, let it sit, and then you get this lovely inoculated product after, that's got all these forest microbes. And in a healthy teaspoon of soil, there's at least 1 billion microbes that we're able to test for. And we only know about a small percentage, like close to 2% of the theorized microbes that are out there. So the fact that we can have that high of levels of the ones that we're testing for and able to test for and have standards for is pretty awesome. So then if you do everything properly, you've now got this highly inoculated brand from, if you following our process, you're going to have microbes that are indigenous to your area, that are good at growing in your area, that are used to all the temperatures and conditions around here, and they're able to really work with what's in the natural soil. And it can be widely beneficial. And in that context, it's kind of like the same thing. You can have access to as much as you need, because we were able to make like 20 kilos for dollars. It's like as much as the brand costs, and that's pretty well it. Maybe a bucket. And so it's pretty fantastic to be able to make these, and then you just to see the rapid responses to it and how fast they work is great. And I butchered mine, actually. Maybe I didn't do my JMS perfect. Maybe I didn't let it sit perfect.
We both went wrong. Okay, so to tell the truth, we both went rogue on this stuff. So Drake kind of went rogue on making his, and I kind of went rogue making on mine. Meaning we went, oh, this is kind of what you need. Well, this is kind of what we have. So let's just kind of try it.
Like simple things. Like I didn't mix, the only thing I didn't do was mix mine completely thoroughly. So instead I would pour a small level of bran, and then I would do a proper portion of JMS, and another small level and proper portion, another small level. I did like 5 or 6 levels over a 13-inch pile or 14-inch pile. So I mean, that in my mind, that's pretty great. Well, no, you need it to be properly mixed. And then, so if I would have just spent the extra 10 minutes, done it properly, I would have had more success. But since I didn't, it didn't have proper, oh my goodness, I'm at a loss for words here, but it wasn't even. It wasn't evenly distributed. Yeah, the moisture wasn't evenly distributed. So I had certain pockets, and in those pockets, there'd be certain areas where I found a little bit of some darker coloring fungus. Now, that's not necessarily the end of the world, but because we're trying to be really, really anal with the process, generally that just means, okay, start again. Add it to your compost, start again. It's not a waste. You're still composting it. You still get to use it, but probably don't put that on your your extremely important crop, be it whatever that crop is. You want to be so careful with it. You want to only do what is certain to work.
Yes. Yeah. And I only call it bokashi because it's actually, this is purchased from a bokashi company. Otherwise, I would definitely be a little bit more specific, but it's just, yeah, that's what it is. It's all there.
No, I get it. And that's why I'm like, cool. I actually know, it's nice to know someone that's actually growing with something like that. Because Drake and I are off on another, a different area. And that's what is so cool. Like, I'm not gonna like get on anybody that's growing, man. I'm just happy for growing. If you're growing with salt, sugar, whatever you're growing with, I'm just happy you're growing. Like seriously, like all growers are welcome here. Like, but just because Drake and I do, Jadam doesn't mean, we don't like other growers. We just want people to grow,
Yeah.
On bokashi in general, what's the kind of the really generic good one? Is it the Goods Green Earth? Prokashi, Grokashi, whatever. Yeah. So I used, when I was buying all sorts of stuff, microbial inoculants and everything, and just throwing my wallet at the grows, which works, but it's freaking expensive and it adds up really quickly. Those products were awesome. I really like the Grokashi as well. I'm sure very similar results. You just do a nice top dress and you give it, if it's got a nice moisture level, especially with the blue mats, which I wanted to key in, that I love use as well. I pulled them out this run because I'm just trying new beds and getting them set up, but I'm going to be putting them back in there. But anyways, within a couple of days of having that nice moisture level with the Grokashi or bokashi or whatever inoculated brand you're using, you just get that fungal mat and so on and so forth. And that just instantly gave me a flashback to use in someone's soil. And it's even came with a warning from the shop that I got it from, which is just another mutual friend of ours. And he wasn't too fluent that I am aware with some of these regenerative and organic practices, but they're like, hey, if this gets a white mat on top, don't throw it out. It's not bad. Like, just, it's good. Don't be upset. It's actually a really good thing. And like, so that's kind of the warning the owner's got to give, because people are using this soil, in which we're going to let Todd jump into a little bit and discuss. And it's getting just a beautiful fungal mat on top, which is a nice mycelial mat, and any other fungi that we're really aware of.
I needed that warning a few years ago because I freaked out and sprayed like hydrogen peroxide on shit.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it's wild. And I just saw someone who had a beautifully inoculated soil, and they're going, oh my goodness, I left it for a couple weeks. I totally forgot. Like, do I have to throw it out? What's wrong? And it's got all this beautiful just fungi in it. So we're just like, big old smile going, just plant.
Yeah.
You are great.
Ready to go.
So speaking about that and all this talk about going in living soil and all this beautiful stuff, you yourself have designed, or, I'm not super fluent with the whole back end, but anyways, you've got an awesome soil in which I've used before. And do you want to just touch on that, maybe when this started and some information and where you're at now with it?
Thank you. Yeah. So basically, through working with live soils and everything, really made me realize that this is kind of something that we don't have here. And I'd seen like there's definitely some living soil companies here, but it seems to be kind of hit and miss. Like most of them do have some salt in the mix. So I wanted to come up with something that's totally organic, and with no salts in it. So basically, I started my own soil company. And my whole philosophy is just to make healthy plants. Like, it's not about anything else. It's about healthy soil, creating healthy plants, and then do with it as you may. Really easy means for people to grow. So yeah, heavily amended, basically castings, worm castings, pumice, and peat, and a really different source of peat as well too. That's definitely not like the normal sphagnum peat moss that people are used to in sunshine mix. So it's actually quite dense, which I know a lot of soil people kind of frown upon. It's always like light and fluffy. It's interesting, like plants grow in a lot of different things. So it's a pretty heavy medium, lots of kelp, lots of neem, lots of alfalfa, lots of rock dusts of different varieties, inoculated with garden giants. There's a wood component in there as well too. So there's an ongoing source of food for your mycelium, which is really important too, which I think that a lot of soil manufacturers don't really honor. I don't want to use Promix really as an example, but it's like everybody's saying they've got mycelium or mycorrhiza in the mix. So that's great. But like, how does it get established? How do you feed it? How does it thrive in that mix? Like if you're not putting something in there, it's going to be fairly short-lived for the most part.
And not to cut you off, sorry, but yeah, with the mycorrhiza fungi, they make associations with the roots when they're in contact with the roots. So it depends. If you have a living soil and you've got these companion plants and all these interactions happening, you've got all this mycorrhiza fungi that's able to grow and build and start this huge mat in this relationship in the soil. It's now able to work for your plants, and they trade off and they have this relationship.
Yeah.
If you've just got inert soilless medium that's got some sprinkled in whatever species of whatever bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi that they had specifically or that they use, it still works, and it works a lot better than the inert medium without that, because as soon as your roots touch it, they start forming these relationships. But it's not like they touch and boom, they're working together. It's when it starts to form. So with us, with this kind of short crop, if we're in smaller pots and we have this half inoculated product, it doesn't necessarily have time to start building the relationships before our crop is finished. And then with 90% of conventional growers, they then dump it out and restart. So it's like, I'm not going to deny that you definitely see better results and there's help compared to not, but then it's just a ladder, right? How many rungs do you want to climb up, right? Just one step at a time, and you can kind of keep going. I haven't found the top yet, and I can't even see it. So
that's so true though. And that's what I find too. Like if you're going to grow with living soil in pots, there's a ceiling there, and the ceiling of a bed is a little bit greater. Again, it's just easier to manage, easier to work with. And then you're allowing that mycelia network and your soil to really come together. Because I do find that it's typically like, even in a bed, it still takes like 3 to 4 months really for everything to come together, where it seems like everything's firing on all cylinders. Typically I'll witness a little bit of not as like the stacking as I would like it to be in a first cycle in a brand new living soil bed. It's not like it's going to be horrible. It'll be decent, but it's not going to be anywhere near where it would be in 4 months time. And to get like in an amending principle, to get from that first cycle to, well, really just the end of your second cycle, requires very little inputs when you look at exactly specifically what's being drawn from the soil, as long as we're constantly reapplying it and putting back. Because so many people kind of freak out about what's going back onto the medium, where I've found, even like if I get a plant that has mites on it and I put a leaf that has eggs on it, like if it's been treated before it goes into my garden, because I'll take cultivars from other people. I try to stop now with this hop fiasco going on.
Latent virus.
Yeah. So now it's like definitely tighten the screws, but like I would treat plants, put them in, I would defoliate when they're in there, and I would never have a resurgence of the mites go from leaves on the soil up into my plants again. And I just think that that's just automatically soil food, soil mites, and different larger soil organisms, soil food web working for us and doing what it does. So yeah.
You got the diversity, it definitely works for you. It's not saying that it's not possible, of course, like things could happen, but when you've got, it's kind of like you've dropped just like a little thief into the army, right? And it's like, good luck getting back. And then when you've got these other, even if it's just a hay on top or a green mulch or a companion plants that are still growing, they've got a whole bunch of obstacles to get through and a whole bunch of other things to kind of deal with before they find that plant again. So they'll most likely get busy somewhere else. So it's this whole system as itself. It works so great together. But it takes a while. Like even myself with one of the beds that's 3 cycles in, so 2 for 6 months at least, plus some time in between. It's really shining now, and you can just see the plants just right from the beginning are just so happy, and there's no issues with them at all. They're taking exactly what they need, and it's just got minor reamendments each time. Whereas the newer beds I had, you could see and I did a 3-month cook on some of this living soil, even though it doesn't necessarily require too much because it's pretty light. It's not too aggressive. That looks really nice, Tara.
Yummy.
And the new beds were definitely showing, like the plants, the leaves were just, I could tell there's a little something. I was getting a little bit of some stress from probably some of the over available stuff in there. Yes, nice. I love seeing the testing results. Hey, it's so nice to be able to kind of identify, as long as it's from the same company and they have the same lab, you can identify kind of what you like and what you need. So Tara's got a good understanding.
That's awesome. I love genetics. That's really, because I've been growing for so long.
I should have bought stock in this company.
Amazing.
I wish I'd owned that company.
But in Washington, where Tara is, she's lucky. She's getting pretty fire product. It's like $40-50 for. But like I trust her palate and she has a wide, she's tried all sorts of shit. She's met all these people and tried the product. So I don't think she's just smoking mids and convincing herself it's good, but it's like $40, $50 for hash rosin.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I'm like, it's like $85 a gram wholesale if I want to get stuff here. I'm like, where the hell? And she get it from a dispensary. So there's like 40.
That just happened though. That just happened this year though.
And you've been legal for how long? Just so everyone's not like thinking that, what's going on here. Like it's been a while. It didn't just come up like this is what you're saying.
No, it was like $120 a gram when it first came out. When it was legal here in Washington, it was like $120. So it'll come around hopefully to all you. It'll come down to that. I'm shocked because I'm shocked they can afford to do it for that.
Yeah.
Well, it's once you, especially that's what are so great. When you see it at a larger scale, a lot of people are switching over to these more sustainable ways, but it's not necessarily like they go completely sustainable, but it's like some of these practices just allow for you to really key in your quality. And like say with some of these long beds, if you're able to set them up properly, the quality is almost guaranteed as long as you don't add any variables in. So as long as you can set it and forget it and build these relationships in the soil, it works beautifully. And not saying I haven't seen dank from almost every style of growing, be it whatever salts to however organic you want to go. So whatever you're doing that suits you, that's for your environment, that's great. But we're going to just push to try and slowly gear towards something that's just, the most beneficial for the planet as a whole. Because as we were talking before, like, this planet's gotta be around for us to be around. I mean, unless we're taking the next ticket to Mars and hoping we can grow some space dank, but I would like to stay here and keep the planet happy and healthy. So in turn, if we can just slowly start pushing these practices and even forcing them down people's throats on a large scale, we can really change things.
Yeah, definitely. So I just a quick question. How long do we have Todd for today? And what are you guys gonna smoke? Did you want to smoke? And are we doing a garden tour later? What's going on? I have some stuff to talk about before we're off. So what's our plan? I forgot to ask that before we went live.
We're both in. Yeah, you're losing me as well. Till about 10:30. I've got to take the puppy to the vet at 11. So you might actually have me till about 10:45. Todd's gonna take off probably in the next sometime between now and the next half an hour.
10:30. I gotta go.
There we go. There we go. So how else would you
we'll hang out for another half hour then with all you guys. I'll let you know in chat. I was just kind of letting everybody know. I hate when you get going on a show and you're like, God, how long are they going to be here? How long we got? You know what I mean? I kind of like to, I don't like to go overboard if people need to leave. I want to be respectful of your time. So I respect everybody's time. Thanks everybody for being here today. Speaking of which, respecting your time.
Hello.
I appreciate y'all being here. And if there's any questions that we can ask or answer for you today, let us know and we'll try and get them answered for you. Today we have Todd, the soil guy. He's not actually called the soil guy. Go ahead, Drake. Reintroduce him because we have a lot of new people in chat.
Yeah, I was just going to jump through the little rundown of please like, share, and smash the subscribe and get on live chat over top chat, just so you're not getting filtered out. I see we've got a nice active chat. Much love, everyone. There's quite a few of you out there, so just cheers to all of you at once. You're all amazing individuals, and we're so blessed and happy to have you tuning in and helping spread this information and giving information and showing your growth and all the fun stuff we always do. So here we're with Todd. He has we're in BC. We're in the interior here, and he's got an amazing soil, sweet soil. I've used it prior, and we kind of joked earlier. It comes with the warning: if you get a white mat on top, don't throw it out. It's not a bad thing. It's a living soil. And he has been a grower himself for a very long time, a partaker of cannabis for quite a minute. We dipped into that a little bit prior. I've been chatting with him for a couple seasons now because we used his product as a base out at the farm, and I've used it here and just screwed around overall quite a bit with it. And now that we're over to more the Jadam principles and kind of more just furthering that base, we just, we keep chatting, and now I'm excited to kind of tell him where I'm at and vice versa. And it's super neat. We're in like the Humboldt of the Okanagan, we call it. So there's lots to keep busy, and we're always kind of on the cutting edge with what's going around. There's new things coming up all over the place. So yeah, we're just really happy to finally have it lined up because we live an hour and a half away from each other.
About that much. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then with the current times and being busy, it's just been hard to line up. And as I know, you're a little bit less. You try to tip away from the technology as much as possible out there because you stick to your roots, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. We love that.
Super rustic. So like my son, he's 18. He just gave up his cell phone and TV a month ago.
Wow.
I can't do it, but like I've always been trying to implement little things to free up my time. Yeah. I try to not be distracted. It's one of those things. I like to be present when I'm involved in something. So, but it's great. I'm so happy we have it. But yeah, it's one of those. It can be a double-edged sword at times. So
yeah, like with everything, there's always, that yin and yang sign. Am I even saying that right? Yin yang. I always say it wrong.
You got it.
Black and white. There's always a good and a bad for everything, and we need it all. Mm-hmm. We really need to embrace everything today. We keep trying to eliminate things. It's not about eliminating, it's living with and embracing it all and embracing change.
It's like our little Jadam book says, the good and the bad are one, but it's not in the context that we need to have horrible things going on to make good things happen. It's just in the context that there's going to be good, there's going to be bad, but as long as you have a healthy diversity, it's all going to work together in a mesh. It's going to flow, and it's not going to be negative. It's going to come out with a positive intent and positive overall outcome. Exactly. which is what we're all about, right? And then just we love being able to preach these different methods that help the soil.
I've got a couple of questions. Do you have some questions, Drake, or are you still going?
Go ahead.
I have a question. So you're very familiar with growing lots of things. What about mushrooms? How are you with that? And like, where are you? I just got last year, I planted my first bed of wine caps, or what else do they call them, Drake?
He actually mentioned he mentioned that in his soil as well. They're inoculated in there. The garden giants, the wine caps.
I love it because if people overwater, you'll see fruiting bodies, and I love it as a monitoring sign. Right? It's so awesome, and I love that symbiosis. So it's like taking that water away that your plants don't need, so they're fruiting for you, and then you're blessed with that fruit as well too.
Exactly.
I actually haven't gotten into mycology a whole bunch, a little bit more so with psilocybin and stuff, but like I've got a friend that does spawn for me, so I'm not overly knowledgeable with it, and I'm trying to actually inoculate my beds with that currently. So I'm working on my carbon ratio to get them to actually work out. It's been a little bit of a tricky thing, but I'm sure I'll get there at some point. What did you make your beds out of for them?
So I just threw stuff we had in our backyard, like wood chips and different stuff. And I had a friend that's a friend of mine that we've had on our show before.
Aria.
Aria, we need to get him back on. He sent me this bag, and it was this stuff that was already inoculated. So he had this stuff that already was inoculated, and I just kind of had to mix it in. And it was really cool because I was out there yesterday. Well, a couple days ago. No.
Yeah.
A week ago.
Yeah, a couple days ago. A
week ago, 2 mushrooms came up. And I'm thinking they were wine caps, but shit, I don't know how to identify.
They looked like them. They did.
So I'm like, I didn't eat them. I just like kind of left them, and I brought them in. I showed them. I'm like, I'm not gonna eat it because I don't know what it is. And then yesterday I was out there because I have a whole bunch of clones and shit that I got to get rid of that I'm taking up with me to give away. I lifted up a couple of the plants, and there was like huge mycelium web underneath the plants where I lifted moisture. So I'm like, ooh, I'm really excited. Like I have just straw. Like I bought some organic straw from a farmer. So I got some straw, and I had some wood chips and just some natural garden materials. You know, I was just kind of piling stuff in there, and that's just how I built the bed.
Yeah, I think
sounds perfect.
I think the rundown they gave us was you get a certain amount. It's good for a certain square footage. It's recommended at a certain amount if you're looking for fruiting bodies right away, or if you want to extend it and get fruiting bodies the next season, you can do so. But it's just ready to go, and you lay it down and throw a little bit of something over top just to keep it happy. And it's a pretty set it and forget it way to kind of incorporate these to the more average farm and the average gardener that doesn't necessarily think about those things yet and expand it. So I know they were working at the Snodgrass farm doing some stuff out there, which is super cool, right? Because like if anyone's not familiar, the Snodgrass family, Bob Snodgrass is a glass blower that's just super renowned, was like a deadhead traveling around hustling all these amazing pipes and just there's some really iconic pieces. And his daughter is
so Josh and Kelly are related, kind of related.
Yeah, go on.
Because they're kind of their daughter-in-law. I mean, they're not married. Sierra's Sky, which is Josh and Kelly's son. His girlfriend Sierra is they're one of their daughters of the Snodgrass family.
And then I believe she's at the farm with them permanently now, right?
She's the granddaughter of Grandpa Snodgrass.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a super cool, crazy
and they're
world.
So nice. It was so funny because I ran into her mom and dad. I talked about her to her mom and dad before I knew it was her mom and dad.
Oh, that's too funny. Of course you did. Of course you did.
I went to the cannabis cultivation classic, that conference that I recorded with Fumador. And I went and I walk into this hotel. I know no one. I'm there by myself, and I see these nice people at the bar. And I'm like, hey, I'll go up and talk to these people. They look like they might be here for the conference. I'm like, oh yeah, how are you guys? You here for the conference? Yeah. I'm like, oh cool. And I'm like, yeah, I follow Dragonfly. And I'm like, yeah, I just love their daughter, the daughter Sierra, and their son. And then they're like, yeah, that's our daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea. It was because I met so many people this last year that I just randomly run into people and meet these like Breeder Steve. Like, who meets Breeder Steve? Like, it was just cool. Like, I've built crazy relationships with them. He's like, boy, Drake, whoa, I can hardly see. I thought you went blank screen over there. It went snowy or something. Mahuna's definitely his endocannabinoid.
He's in the bedroom. He was being a naughty pup.
Oh, naughty pup. He got busted.
Sent him for mom to deal with, so I'm sure she's happy. I heard him barking a couple times. Oops.
Well, so Todd, is there some stuff that you feel like we need to know more about your soil, or some stuff you'd like to tell the cannabis community today? And I love talking.
If there's any other BC residents around here, someone here, like how would they run some of your soil? How would they get some from you? Where there's some of the places that maybe hold it, and what are the options there?
Yeah, like I'm in some stores around. It's really a regional product. I don't really care to pay a distributor too much to truck it for me. It's one of those things. It's not really the greatest business strategy ever. I'm trying to get people to grow in a living medium and never replace it ever. So
and then like shipping it around, obviously, I'm sure you're hesitant to that because it's not like super sustainable, right? It's kind of the opposite of what your whole core is.
Totally. So you get in kind of this dichotomy. I've considered like trying to throw it in a train and have it, toted and stuff on the East Coast and stuff. But for now, it's available in the Okanagan, at Aquagoro and West Kamloops. Optimum Organics in Kelowna, OK Garden Center in Vernon, and SA Ecoline in Salmon Arm. And then
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I do bulk as well to totes and stuff like that if people have bigger operations and need a greater quantity of soil. But like really, I'm all about empowering growers to save money, do things on their own farms, and not pay a lot of money for water out of a bottle. That's just generally my philosophy when it comes to growing. So
in other words, it's just a really passionate side venture, and obviously not the main meat and potatoes, just because of the nature of it, right? Because like you said, you're setting up people to be able to do this on their own and everything, but just because you're so passionate, you're able to then teach them and get it in there, and then just being able to provide that education, knowledge, and positivity and helping people generally has them coming back and having other things they require from you, which you can now, maybe now you goes from helping the soil to now consulting, as I know you mentioned earlier, and just moving on and things like that. So it's like, we don't have to all be so greedy personally, and things will still really work out for us. You just got to put that energy out there, and it really does come back. That being said, don't be thinking that just because you do something nice one time or pick up a piece of garbage that you're almighty and stuff. Yeah, no, it's not quite that easy, but it's a whole mindset and a lifestyle. But
what about if you think it like this way? Karma is your whole life's, not just today.
Totally. Absolutely.
Karma is your whole life, and maybe some shitty things you did in your past is now paying you back today. Think about that shit.
Exactly. And then you wanted to comment something about biochar and ask about that a little bit, Tara?
No, someone said it in chat. So
there we go. We had a question in chat. Perfect. Yeah. Do you have any biochar experience with it, or is it in your soil specifically?
No, I don't. I don't have a biochar blend yet. I haven't found a company that produces and inoculates. I've contemplated inoculating my own, but I'm not there yet. Possibly at the end of summer, if I can kind of get a deal going here. I really want to have the option because I've seen Kiss Organics and everything and what Tad's done with it, and it looks great, and I love it conceptually, but I've never worked with it, and I am finding like, as far as yields are concerned and quality of flower and everything, we're doing exceptionally. So it's one of those things, like I really want to play with it, but I've kind of like, I've narrowed down really what I'm doing a lot. So I do want to kind of,
you got to tread lightly, right? Because as you're saying, as well as expanding, it's once you have a core, it's something that works great for you. It's fun to play around, as you said, right? But that's exactly kind of what it is. It's like, look, this works. This is a staple. We've got a fantastic product that's coming out. We've personally heard a couple different sides on biochar for sure. There's all sorts of opinions, but I mean, that goes with everything in opinions. Everyone's got one. But it's you find something that works, and then from there, you do your own little self trials. And a big thing is recording it. Now we write it down is a big thing, but we don't necessarily have to. You can just take pictures and do a little record, a little memo, and then you're able to go back and see what you've done, what you've changed, what the result was.
Are we not so lucky to be able to just take pictures right now and record as we do? God, we're so lucky.
Yeah.
And how many of us don't? Like, I'm still guilty for it. Like, I
still don't. Exactly.
Even every week I make my JMS stuff. I just got to take a picture and upload it and say, and I'm forgetting half the time. Not forgetting even. Sometimes you're just out there, and my role or my prerogative has been spill a little JLF on myself right before I start doing everything. So it's just like, I don't want to touch my phone or anything.
So I got a nice
fun. It ain't so bad though. It's kind of just like your own
So someone also said about insect frass. Are you into that at all?
No, I haven't added any insect frass at all either. I've been looking at the David Suzuki place down in Langley. He's making it. This soldier fly, like a few of those different things have pretty high levels of cadmium in them. So I've stayed away, and I'd have to do a little bit more research, but what I've seen initially, I haven't gone there. For chitin, like basically I've always tried to go more crustacean as opposed to insect, and I have nothing against it. I just don't know enough. And I know the one that I looked into that I thought was a reasonably good value didn't have it had levels of cadmium that I'm not really wanting to apply in my soil. And that's the thing.
Wait, for people that might be new, what is that? Can you explain that to people?
Cadmium's basically a heavy metal. If you put it into your soil, the plant is going to pull it out. So, and we're blessed with this plant. It's amazing that it can do this, but like you need to contemplate if you have something in your soil that you don't want there, maybe you want to throw in hemp for fiber or something like that. Pull that out and then introduce your cannabis that you're going to be utilizing for yourself. Because it's just the nature.
I kind of think that that's one thing in building like those hugelkulturs and a lot of those beds. I think you should like build those beds like way in advance before you want to grow cannabis on them. I think you need to grow them, and then like they need to have like cover crops and just crops that you're going to till in and stuff.
And
like
your cover crop can be partly
till in. Sorry, I didn't mean till, but like
your cover crop can be partly cannabis as well. It's just don't expect it to be the bomb.
But I'm saying like if there's heavy metals in it, just to be sure, like then you're not harvesting it. Hopefully the plants. Yep. I believe Mother Nature, the plants, if left alone to do their job, they can re-amend the soil and make it good again for us. Like I believe that after time, if it takes time.
Oh, we're seeing it with fungi. We're seeing it with hemp. Where it's definitely a thing.
So like if you have that questionable soil, go out there and plant it. Let some things grow on it. Start watering it. You'll be surprised how fast things will start growing, and you'll build soil. I'm building soil on basalt rock out back. It's crazy the shit I'm doing.
Huh. Well, it's just what you've got, right? You just have to work with it. There's no other choice. So you just build up, and then when we do these applications, it's so wild what the microbial life can do, and it just keeps working down. And really, now it's actually utilizing that slowly, even though you have your main base on top. So
constantly diving in always. So it's interesting. If you can break some up and throw it in a sack, send it up here and I'll throw it in my soil for sure. I like basalt.
There we go. Yeah. I got a big bag of insect frass. I think I got it from Boogie Brew or somewhere around there. Cause it's just the same thing when I was ordering out and looking. And same thing, I'm fluent with like a lot of the podcasts, and I'm just always on listening to stuff and trying to source products, especially prior to going down the path we are now. And I use it a little bit, but mainly just for some like kind of like throw it all in there teas, like the what is it, the True Living Organics, the TLO teas.
Oh yeah,
they've got like but it's now that we're learning more and more, there's just such a large amount of inputs in there. So the way that I feel personally, and that I've been shown or told about it, is it's just really hard to replicate the exact same results, and you don't necessarily like it. It's more of a I don't know how deep I want to get into it, but I prefer not having so many elements, whereas I can do like leaf mold, soil, sea salt, soft water. Yeah. Instead of like whole swag of different things. And then I'm able to for implementing some of those, can add like, say, my grass clipping JLF, which is just healthy weeds of all vigor from different life stages that are just broken down in soft water, again with some leaf mold. And if you want some sea salt, then you just have to count for it in the dilutions. So generally just leaf mold. And then you can do, I got a crop specific one. So I've got 40 gallons of cannabis, kind of like shake and, semi-runnable product, but just not very good. So we just mix that all in with the water and the leaf mold soil. Now we've got this cannabis specific liquid fertilizer. So you can just add in a little bit of that, a little bit of the grass clippings, and say, if you're transitioning, which is something we're going to play with, a bone meal for like JLF, which is just just bones broken down again with the leaf mold soil and water. Takes a long time, but instead of having 15 to 20 different things I'm adding in that are all from some other company for the most part that were processed, or we just don't, it's now just adding in this specifically for this. And it's, we have a better understanding of it for sure. It's a lot more basic.
Yeah. Well, and the ability to go out and harvest leaf mold, in a good way from wherever is, it's perfect, because it's just utilizing what nature already has for us.
we really are, you know, here in America, like we really are lucky with the abundance of leaf mold soil we have. Like there are some places that are deserts that literally don't have leaf mold soil. Like it's like literally hard, almost practically impossible to find. It is really.
You have to make your own essentially, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
You do. And it's not
Which
that,
can.
okay, and it's, okay, I want to back this up for just a minute. It's not that you can't find microorganisms. It's not that you can't find that soil that's broken down. It's that you're looking for a specific soil that has specific microorganisms and stuff, and that leaf mold soil. You can find leaf mold soil in lots of different places. I found it in swampland underneath a Russian olive tree. But is that the kind of like mycelium I really want to be growing in? Not really, because I'm not growing in swampland, and my cannabis doesn't
It's
really
about
grow in
the
swampland. So it does have microorganisms, but it's not the right one. So that's something that it took me a long time to figure that out. I was a little slow on that one.
Well, we've touched on it, lots recently too, and it was, you know, it's really helped my understanding and grasp of it as well. And it's the I always forget the main term for it, but it's like the soil to bacterial, or the fungal bacterial dominance, but it's scale on how it works from, say, the desert to the old growth forest.
Mhm.
And that's like a thing that came up recently on one of the posts I made about using, say, pine trees or something for their collection. And yes, you can, you pull it back and you do the same theory for collecting leaf mold soil. You can find beautifully inoculated soil under there because the tree, they're working, they're making that awesome relationship, and that's what it's doing. But it's going to be a very different level of diversity than if you were in the desert. And then if you can kind of split it right down the middle and you search and you do a bit of research, you find out, oh, hey, that's where cannabis likes it. Well, then you start realizing, okay, yes, I'm getting an amazing collection and it's bomb, and I'm making my JMS and it's foamy as hell, and I can see the separation of the edge, and there's just clear activity and it's great, and giving it to my plants and they're pretty happy. But you have to know overall that you're providing them something that's not for that environment. So you can do it in small proportions, say 1/3, but you want to be adding lovely microorganisms that are in the same soil, or same, I keep saying soil instead of bacterial fungal, but the same bacterial fungal dominance area that the plant that you're growing is, whatever your crop is. So for us, for the cannabis, it's the deciduous trees. It's the same thing, hasn't been touched for 20 years and nice out there, leaves just this high, and you pull them back and you can get all that. And then when you re-add and multiply those, they've got a way larger diversity of microbes that actually work for the plant that we're producing.
Mhm.
And then they also have a way higher chance of surviving in the area you're providing them, because generally you're going to be providing them to a bed that's going to be sourcing these plants, and it's not going to have the root zones and interactions of a pine forest. So they're all just going to die off.
Yeah.
And the reason we do weekly is just because certain ones aren't going to thrive as good, and it's not going to be as prolific as the other ones. And to ensure we just keep having that diversity on a weekly basis, we just reapply the healthy soil microbes again in the specific dilutions, and ensure we've got that nice diversity and everything's able to work well together, and it just outcompetes any of the negative compounds or negative microbes, so on and so forth in soil, and we kind of have that happy system.
You know what? I have to say hello real quick to one of our really awesome friends over on Twitch. Just popped in.
And then we will say goodbye after, because it's coming up quick.
Yeah, so we had a Twitch friend pop in here. His name's Golden Nose.
Oh,
and
nice.
He's a DJ and he mixes with his nose. You have to go check him out.
Gotta check it out. It's
It
rad.
is awesome.
Yeah.
And he has a golden smile, and I love listening. He's normally on in the mornings when I'm waking and baking. Early, like 7 or 9-ish our time, 8-ish our time. I don't know, somewhere around there. You can check him out on Twitch. I love him. He's awesome. I don't know if someone can post his link for me. If someone knows how to do that in chat, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and we actually.
What'd you say, Drake?
I was gonna say, we actually recently hopped over on Twitch with our great friend Crazy Cassie and did a show. I think you did a couple with her on her first Twitch streams, and she's going through and doing a couple different weekly shows. And then one of them's a mod talk and talking about the different, like, say, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, all the different places to market and to have your content out there, and what your different angles are for someone like ourselves that just want to get information out, or some of the DJs on Twitch that now aren't able to go to clubs and everything that they're used to. So now their whole business is like okay, I got to set up my house to be a club, and like it's got to be good over this screen. I got to learn how to interact like with the computer and look at the webcam, which I never do.
I
It's
would
like,
love to be a DJ. I think it'd be. That's why I've been hanging out over there. It's so, it'd be so fun to be.
But yeah, so we're over there. If anyone is around and can share a link to that as well, that would be fantastic. So we can have anyone that wants to go check out Crazy Cassie and what she's up to over there, and us talking about a few of the other intricacies of, say, YouTube and so on and so forth. But aside from that, to just jump back, because we do have to let Todd go and respect his time.
Yes,
He's stayed so long for us already. We're so happy you were here. He's here like 8:30 this morning. So it's tough for all of us to be able to accommodate something like that. So again, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
For anyone out there, it's Sweet Soil. I'm going to quickly pop back over and share off the Instagram. So go and give it a follow. If someone can possibly share this link, one of our moderators, that would be fantastic in chat, so everyone can check it out. They got great product and just even better vibes. So it's good to network in general. Sorry, I stutter. I'm bad at multitasking, but I'm also just gawking over some of this.
Drake, all you have to do is go back to that other and copy and paste that link and go right to chat.
I suppose I can do that as well.
Right there. Copy
Move this
and paste. No.
Sweet Soil. Check out Sweet Soil as well.
Copy right there.
Thank you.
In the link address. Copy and paste. No, the link address. Right in the top.
Oh, you're killing me, Tara.
You're
killing me.
There. Right there. Copy and paste into.
Oh yeah, but see, you're double killing me. So I do everything on my phone. Now you're just getting me to do things that are silly because I don't have YouTube open on my laptop.
Oh, you don't?
No, I do it. I via the cell phone. So it took me. See, that's how long it even took me to figure out what I was doing. That it wouldn't even work.
No wonder that's why. Okay, no wonder we're having such a. Oh, we're gonna have to go over that. Oh, anyway.
But anyways, Todd, any final words before you go off?
No, thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it. I really appreciate what you do and everything. It's amazing. So yeah, have a great growing season, everybody. Get that sunshine.
Oh yes, thank you.
If that border is open up, hopefully I'll get to come meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely come down for a session for sure.
Yeah, that's another place I have to come pay you a visit. So thanks again for coming. And I'll be back before I hop off permanently, but I'll take the camera and I'll say goodbye and
I'll chat for a minute with everybody. I'll chat with everybody. So everybody, I am headed. I got this Eagle Tree Farm shirt thingy on today because I'm headed over to Eagle Tree. Let me share their website with you guys, or their page. Let's see here. Share screen. Here we go. There we go. This is Eagle Trees Family Farm. And I am headed over there to hang out with this crew. There's Kenny, my friend in the red. That's his sister. And isn't that garden just beautiful, you guys? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I can't wait to go see these guys. They're up in Bellingham. And I am headed up there on Friday. We're going to leave. And we are going to camp out with them. And they have like a bud tender or type of appreciation celebration that they're going to have. And of course, lots of good weed. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? They are just, oh my God, they're so amazing. Beautiful, beautiful farm. They got cows and dogs. And I think they harvest all their own hay and stuff. And we're going to be like right on the river. And oh my God, I'm super excited. Here you go. This is one of my favorite pics. I love these silos right here. These are so cool. It's like an old dairy. It was an old dairy up in Bellingham, and it's now there's the family. Beautiful. Isn't that amazing? And I'm actually growing some of their bud this year. Kenny bred some cultivars, and one of them is called Lavender Royale, and I'm calling it La Royale. And I'm super excited. I got to harvest some of that last year with Sunibus when I went up to her farm, because she grew some of it out and it was amazing. And oh my God, the aroma and the terpenes were just beautiful. And Kenny goes and he harvests all these leftover mushroom patches, and he uses them as mulch and stuff on their farm. And they also have bees. So I'm super excited to go look at these bees. Hopefully I get to see the bees because I have not been around beehives and I would love to go learn and talk about bees. So super excited. That's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. I hope to have internet service on Saturday. We're going to be going live again Saturday morning, back with you guys, 9 a.m. Let's take a rip. What are you guys smoking on this morning? I haven't got to talk to you much. We've been interviewing our friend. We got Maine in the house. Soil Life, how are you? What's up, Bingo Lombardi? What are you smoking, Bingo? I want to know. Tell me now. Tell me now, Bingo. Bingo, tell me now. Or are you working? Maybe you're working. You might be working. Okay, I am going to finish this off. I need to do a little bump because I took a big puff on that one. Don't want to waste it. Isn't that a beautiful leaf? Yeah, gorgeous. They're all organic. I think they do KNF and Jadam practices. I'm not totally familiar, but we're going to go find out. Cheers, y'all. Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh. High voltage, that sounds good. Malbrats, is that how I say that? Mandelbrot. Mandelbrot oil spill. I've never heard of that. Cat, what you doing? What you doing, Captain? Are you free to jump on? Should I throw out the link? You want to jump on? Anybody want to jump on? Say hello. Or Drake said he had to leave at 10:30, didn't he? He had to leave. He had to go take the puppy. He has to leave in a little bit to take puppies. So he'll be back on to say goodbye and take a puff. What else? I'm taking some Congo over to Kenny. Kenny will have some Congo. And if anybody is in Seattle, I have some Congo and I'll be passing through Seattle. By the way, I would love to hand some out. The Congo clone.
I'm back with a puppy. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're right. I do have to hop.
Yeah. That's okay. Let's go ahead and we'll say we had an amazing day. I love talking to the soil guy today, Todd. I'm just gonna call him Todd.
Fantastic.
And that was awesome. And Drake, you left already?
No, I'm here. Hit the wrong. We're good.
Are you gonna say goodbye to everybody? That was just rude.
It was too quick. It was too fast. I had to just go.
Smoking pineapple express. Oh, I love pineapple express. That's awesome.
Oh, but on that note, thank you.
Yeah, so it was a great show today. Drake, go ahead.
I am gonna hop. So it was fantastic. Super glad to have Todd on. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. If you didn't catch it before, please like, share, smash the subscribe. And it's a little late now, but be on Top Chat or live chat next time over Top Chat because you've been filtered out this whole time if you didn't know. So there you go. Peace and love, everyone. I'm out of here, and thank you, Tara. You can close everyone out.
Bye, Drake. See you later. He's out of here. Get that puppy to the
Cheers.
vet. Poor little puppy. All right, y'all. I will see you on Saturday morning, hopefully with a good connection with Drake. We might be back. Alpenglow has been having a hard time on Instagram. They took their live away from them. Apparently, they're not happy with cannabis over there still at Instagram. So we're a little frustrated with them. So we were going to help them kind of promote their Instagram over here a little bit on YouTube. So hopefully we'll be having Alpenglow coming on again with Craig. And you'll also be seeing Kenny at Eagle Trees and the family farm this weekend. So see y'all Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. And as always, peace and love. Have a fantastic and elevated day. Cheers.